Hey everyone, welcome to another Infinite Summer video. We are really excited for this one. This one is celebrating our Apex Infinite channel. We have two awesome Apex content creators here with us. We're going to be having a Apex Legends discussion panel. So we're going to be talking about all things Apex, talking about what's new in the game, and talk about the community. And we got two awesome creators here to talk with you guys. I would love for you guys to hear about them, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Scarlet Rose, and I am a cosplayer. Most of my content is on Instagram, but you can also find me on YouTube. And a lot of my cosplays have been game-based, or just stupid cosplays. And I'm known for my Loba cosplay, which I had recently gotten this year. And I've done multiple photo shoots and attended multiple conventions in it, and it's my favorite cosplay.
Okay. I am Ken. That's my stage name. I cosplay Mirage from Apex. I do a couple of different cosplays, but I've been focusing on Mirage because that's been the one that's took me the longest to build. So yeah, I've been focusing on that. My content you can find on, I post most on Reddit, in the Facebook Apex chat, and Instagram here and there. So yeah, I'm starting to just focus on gaming cosplays. And then my other outlet is I'm a famous dance from my community. So I also do that as well. But there's a lot of cosplayers in that community as well that recognize the content I put out when it comes to the gaming of Apex.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing. It's really cool to get to know and meet other creators in the Apex community. We were saying before the stream, one thing is like, I just don't know a lot of like Apex fans like in person. Like we have this, really loved Apex channel, and there's a lot of cool creators that we've gotten to meet there, but it's all like virtual and like far away. And it's really cool to have be able to have an actual like in-person conversation with some fellow Apex fans. It's really cool. You both have amazing cosplays. Mirage and Lobo are two of my favorite characters from Apex, and like just the detail that goes into the outfits. And as someone who's out, like we work with a lot of cosplay content creators, but I don't personally do it. So like it's just amazing, and it never gets old to see like the level of detail that goes, especially like Mirage has like a lot of body armor and like the little holographic hubs. There's so much detail there, and like Loba has a very like intricate, like very detailed outfit that's just very very unique. So it's just really cool to just see what goes into that. You guys have some really cool content, so I'm really excited to have you in this discussion panel and just talk about Apex Legends. Let's dive into well, for those that don't know me too much, because our YouTube channel is also rather new, so there's a possibility. And I'm not in front of the camera too often, so a lot of people know us for Apex Infinite. Apex Infinite is our most popular channel underneath the Game Infinite platform, but I'm behind the scenes a lot. I'm behind the camera. A lot of people don't even know me. So I'm Jesse. I've been doing a lot of these Infinite summer videos. I'm the head of Game Infinite, and I do oversee our Apex Infinite channel. So it's definitely great to be a part here with you guys. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's dive into some questions. The first question is just something that just kind of get our feet wet a little bit, get us in the mood about talking about Apex. Is why is Apex Legends like so special, and what makes it stand out to you? There are a lot of popular battle royale platforms, a lot of free to play. Like, what makes it stand out? Why is Apex Legends so special, and why does this community, or how does this community matter to you?
Right. So honestly, out of all the battle royale games that there are out there, Apex was the only one I started playing out of all of them. But as I started playing more and more, and there was more lore and character development and just the characters introduced, I realized how amazingly diverse it is. You've got people of color who are absolutely amazing. And then you've also got the fact that it's so open to the LGBTQ plus community. And I love that. We've got people like Valkyrie, who generally means like a lot to me because queer person of color, Asian, that's me. And so just Apex in general, out of all of the games, I just love the lore, how it keeps going on, the diversity, and also like how cool the character looks, the character designs, and I love it all in the skins too.
Okay. I have like about 3 good reasons. One, for understanding, it's a good medium. I think because never was a big Fortnite player, but I was a Call of Duty player. but I think Apex is a good medium between like a mixture of Apex. Call of Duty and Fortnite. And what I mean by that, it's like the gameplay, the gameplay and the outlook of it. But what I do like the most is that it's its own. Like compared to Fortnite, Fortnite has a lot of theme characters and they base off, okay, this month is The Rock or this month is the DJ, which is cool. But what really strikes me about Apex is that it stays in the realm of what it is and making its more original characters stand out to be something with a story, a narrative. And I think it draws a stronger impact to even people that just want to relate to these characters. And they're their own, you know, they're not, theming is cool. Theming is fine, but when you have something that stands on its own, it just has a bigger effect. And yeah, that's what it is definitely for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you both have said about just what makes it special. I mean, there's a lot of battle royale games, and I've played them all. Blackout for Call of Duty was actually my first battle royale game that I got into. I never really played a lot of PUBG or even Fortnite when they first launched. But it was Blackout for me, and Blackout was fun. That made me like the genre. But Apex did such an amazing job with it. I was there day one because I wasn't coming to it because as a battle royale fan, like a lot of people did. I was coming to it as a Titanfall fan. I was a day one Titanfall 1 and a day one Titanfall 2 player, and I love those games. And I have written many lengthy and very opinionated articles about how I'm still mad at EA for what they did to Titanfall. And because Titanfall 2 was a phenomenal game that got just obliterated by its strength of schedule. They made the idiotic decision to launch Titanfall 2, and by they I mean EA, the suits at the top, not the developers who made it, but like the suits at the top made the idiotic decision to launch it within just a few weeks of Call of Duty and Battlefield. When you have a whole 12-month calendar to launch a game, you pick a military shooter and segue it into the middle of those two games, which is it was just a bad decision, and it's what impacted the game. But Titanfall 2 was phenomenal gunplay. It still has one of the best campaigns to date. So I've been one of those people who have been a proponent for like, please give me Titanfall 3 for the longest time. And then that's what they originally were making. And then when they announced, there was like the way they did it, it was very like, we're revealing this new game. It was a reveal stream. And they like dropped it that day, and they were saying that it was like they were like, we're making a Titanfall game without Titans, and I was like the biggest skeptic, and I was just like, you're going to remove the one thing that that makes this universe special and different, and I was super skeptical, but I played it, and I'm like, man, this is fun. Like the gameplay is so smooth, the gunplay. No one does gunplay and movement like Respawn. No other game just feels as fluid and as smooth as it.
I agree.
And it's just so good, and it makes other games feel sluggish. And I was a big Halo fan, but I remember going back to Halo after a long break, going and feeling like, man, this is super tanky and slow compared to having put thousands of hours into Apex. So I agree. I think that's one of the things that makes it special. Another thing that really I want to second the point about, this is a game that a lot of big companies, they love quoting diversity and inclusion, and they pick their month of topic, and it feels so corporate and fake, where they're just doing it to get their social standing, like they're just doing it
more
to
marketing than actual support.
Like there's a lot of times when companies are participating in, and I'm not saying like the monthly topics are bad or anything like that, but I'm just saying like there's times when companies do that, and you just feel that they're just doing it for corporate marketing. Like they're just trying to, like, the best way I could describe it is the hello fellow kids meme is like that. That's what it comes across as. Whereas Respawn, when I've listened to developer interviews, and it just comes across genuine. Like I feel like they actually care. It's not like some of these other companies that they pretend they care, or they start talking about diversity and inclusion after something bad happened to try to make it look better. Like this is a company that I do feel actually genuinely cares about, and I feel like it's something that they put thought into when they make new characters. They're looking at it as like, do we represent enough people?
And I completely agree with that. As someone who is queer, I noticed when you get the pop-ups on Apex when you open the game up, instead of being like it's Pride Month or anything like that, it was it's okay to be questioning, and it's okay. You don't have to figure this out quickly.
Mhm.
You have your whole time to figure this out. And that was a genuine, like, supportive message to those who are part of the community. So like it wasn't just it's Pride Month, it's we understand.
Yeah, and you know, and Respawn does a good job as it's even more wide spectrum than that. It's not just about that community, like it ethnically and even like body image, and like there's just a lot of diversity in these characters. Like if you look at like Caustic or Gibraltar, like they're not like super stereotypical like super soldier buff Hulk type characters. They have
Hmm.
there's a little bit more body image diversity there, and we got ethnically a huge spectrum of representation across the variety of legends. I think it's all just very cool how much effort they've put into um, quality diversity inclusion, like really
Hmm.
truly trying to make the community feel included. That's not just manufactured corporate inclusion. So I think that's good because more companies need to follow that, because it's not that it's not enough to just care about that topic, but to do it genuinely. Because how many companies do we see where as soon as that month is over, they just move on and they never talk about it again for 12
Yeah.
months? It's like, you know, inclusion in, you know, like Black History Month, that ends. We don't hear about it from so many companies for 12 months. You know, Pride Month ends, you know, Women's History Month. Like once the month ends,
Hmm.
so how many companies just shut up and never talk about it again? So I definitely like the atmosphere and the culture that Respawn has given the Apex community. One thing, and I mentioned this in our chat when we were preparing for this, is that I have a little daughter, and I have no, and she's really young, so we have no idea what she's going to grow up to like be passionate about or want to do. But if she chooses to like follow in gaming like her father, that's something that I'm really passionate about. Is I want the gaming community to be, you know, years down the road when she enters it, to be a place where she can have just as positive an experience as I was when I was
Hmm.
little. You know, being a white guy, I had no barrier to entry to this community. Um, now, that gives me the extra responsibility to try to make this a community that is welcoming to other
Hmm.
people, and that's why that's where my personal motivation comes, is to make sure that I can leave the community, the gaming community as a whole, a better place for her when she enters it down the road. And that's one of my hopes. So I'm passionate about it for those reasons. But I also just have a lot of friends that I'm just like, gaming is so cool and it can be such a unifying factor. Like it can bring so many people who are different together. Like there's a lot of divisions out in the world, and gaming can be this really cool way to bring different people together, no matter like your creed or your color or your life or whatever. Everyone can come together and appreciate it under a game. Like, I mean, what is a more unifying thing than when you're walking down the road and you see a total stranger wearing a shirt with a game logo or a game image that you really like, and like how you could
I
like
had that
instantly be
experience.
friends? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
super excited.
yeah. What's that like?
It's so I got a fuse top, um and I got one for me and my friend to have matching ones. I went into a pub after I had my Loba photo shoot. So I had the Loba makeup on and this fuse shirt on. And I was trying to explain to family friends, it's from a game kind of thing. And the bartender comes up and goes, "That's a fuse shirt." And we just spoke about Titanfall and Apex all evening. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for me, it's like, especially seeing it. It's especially seeing something like that. Oh, can you guys see me? Oh,
Yeah, we're good.
yeah. Seeing something like that is like it's like a warm feeling, like somebody walking by with a, especially Mirage shirt, because I'm a big Mirage fan, or but any Apex anything, and I see somebody, I'm like, it's like a that warm feeling, like you kind of maybe understand me a little bit, like you know what realm I come from, and you know it
Mm.
enough to like rock that shirt. And I was like, man, it's just very familiar, you know, and it's like, hey, you know, sometimes you just point to the person like, hey, Apex, and like, yeah, you know. Or I had that conversation with this guy at uh the anime Riverside Con that they did for the first time. And he was like, oh man. And he was just wearing like his Apex shirt. And he was like, I love Apex. He was like, man, I love it so much. And he put his fist up and he had like a tattoo of Pathfinder on his hand. And I was like, yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. I was like, oh man, I said I have those his gloves at my house. I'm like, yeah, we talked for almost an hour about that simple subject, and just seeing him in his shirt, and yeah.
I remember I was sitting in a restaurant with my daughter. We went out for ice cream, and this waiter, the busboy guy, he's like sweeping the floor, and he just walks by. He sees my hat, and he's like, "Oh man, you like Apex?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love Apex." And we just like talked about like the new season, and like I asked him if he had tried who was it at the time? It was Newcastle. I asked him if he had tried Newcastle yet, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I love Newcastle. Newcastle's awesome." So we just like it's just crazy how like just some type of you can just if you could somehow if you once you find out that someone likes something that you like that in anything in the gaming world, whether it's Apex or something else, how you can just like instantly be friends and have stuff to talk about. And that's just is a really cool like pure thing about society. Like whether it could be anything, it could be a Star Wars shirt, it could be any, but if you have some type, that's what I like about like nerd culture and gaming and the whole community is that it is that easy to just like connect with total strangers in that way. So yeah,
Mhm.
this is a really cool and important topic, and we could probably talk about this for a whole panel, but I do want to move on to our next question. And this was just a fun, quick one. It could be very easy or it could be very hard. But who is your favorite legend and why?
Oh my God. So originally my favorite character was Lifeline back when it was only like those characters. And I always played Lifeline mainly because any other game I've played, I've always been a support character. And she was just my favorite character. But then as I started playing more and more, it came out, Watson became my favorite character. She had this little hitbox. She was so cute. I loved the Nessies, her voice lines. And then and then other characters came out, and I'm like, oh, Valkyrie, Loba, Revenant. So currently, I would have to say my favorite characters, lore-wise, would have to be Octane, Lifeline, and Loba. But to play as, surprisingly, Sia, Loba, and Lifeline.
All right,
All
for
great picks.
me, uh, for me, man, it's Mirage. Mirage is like my type. I started with Gibby, because that's when in the beginning I was trying to figure out the game, and I was like, I'm not sure. I was on and off, and then like I was like, let me try some other players, and eventually I got to Mirage, and I was like, yo, this reminds me of myself. He's this dude. He's witty. You know what I'm saying? He's
Mm-hmm.
like, so he's like just a character that kind of reminds me of myself. And I was like, man, if I was a legend, I would be this legend. You know what I'm saying? Just off of his characteristics and how he acts, the way he talks. It's yeah. So he's my favorite legend because of that. And then I start to enjoy his abilities as a trickster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a fan of his first alt because that's when I actually first got get out the game, when I was able to turn invisible and just like assassin creep people from behind. I said, "Oh, this is great. I'm getting good at this game." But yeah, I just grew with him, and I think his story as they put it out here and there as every season comes, I just continue to enjoy it. But yeah, he's my favorite legend. I love Horizon and also Fuse, and sometimes I use Lifeline, but Mirage is my top character.
Fuse is a beautiful man.
Oh, Fuse is just, Fuse is the character that when I don't really feel, and I'm not saying you can't be strategic, but there are times where I'm just like, I don't really want to be overly tactile. I don't want to be overly strategic. I don't want to be trying hard. I just want to relax and just have some kind of chaotic fun. I play as Fuse, where I'm just like, I'm just gonna like load up on grenades, spam grenades, and just like he's a very just chaotic character. Not that you can't be
Mm-hmm.
strategic with him, but like that's this. And when I want to just turn my brain off a little bit, I'll play as Fuse, just because I just find him just he's very fun to like relax with.
Yeah.
Um, and but whereas on the other side, when I'm trying hard, my favorite character that I've played the most from a gameplay standpoint is Mirage. So I'm going to second that. I main Mirage mostly. I mained Gibraltar for like the first 3 seasons or so. He was really fun. He was really great in the beginning to just learn, like, this shield. He has the bubble. He was a very defensive character. His ult is
Yeah,
super fun. So I made
yeah.
him for a while, and then eventually I discovered, like you, I discovered Mirage. I really grew to like him a lot after the rework, because I loved all the things that they added to, like he's evolved a lot as a character. Like they added his
Yeah,
ability to send holograms while you're
yeah,
skydiving. They added the ability. My
yeah,
my favorite change was when they
Yes.
gave him the cloaking while res, and that was a really
yeah,
game changer because I was
yeah,
like, I like you, Scarlett. I liked playing a lot of support characters in other games because I usually play by myself. I'm usually playing with randoms. So support
Hmm.
characters, especially if they have a decent offensive or defensive set, depending on the game, support characters can be a good way to play with randoms because you're a little less reliant on the skill level of others in some ways. And that might be a little backwards for some, but I feel like we're
Mm.
like, if I can control like healing and support and res and things a little
Yeah.
bit more, that I'm less reliant on how good other people are at those.
Yeah.
So Lifeline is fun, but I was never really good with her. When they gave Mirage that res ability, I was like, so like not only can I like trick people and be very offensive, but like when my team goes down, I can get them back up quicker. And the amount of like whole squad revives I was able to get after that rework really went up because it's just the
Hmm.
cloaking was very powerful. So I haven't played Mirage a lot. He's still my
Mm.
main. There's other characters that I really enjoy playing as like Fuse and Caustic is really fun, even though he's very situational.
Hmm.
My I want to say another one of my I would say my number two pick, my one of my other favorite characters is Loba because
Mm.
Loba is just super fun. Just everything about the character, the voice acting, just the lines, the everything about Loba is very fun. She's not the most like offensive character, but she can be very tactile, um, and tactical. And one of my favorite moves that I pulled off, and I don't know how I like. I had this. I posted a video. This was forever ago, where I kind of like panic hit her teleport, and
Hmm.
I was like, we got like there was like we were just getting ambushed, and I was shooting, I was running out of ammo, I was killing some things, and I was running low on health, and I just panicked, like tossed her teleport bracelet, and I ended up behind the squad that was attacking us, and they didn't see me, and I just like
Mm.
murdered them really quick. It was like it was like 60 seconds of all-time greatness that I'll ever achieve in gaming. I don't know how I pulled off like 5 kills and just like, yeah. If you watched it and didn't realize that I did it by accident. So yeah, it was like 30 to 60 seconds of greatness that I'll never be able to recreate with
Mm.
Loba. So Loba is super fun. Which is actually, I think, a perfect segue into our next question. Loba is one of the most popular characters for fan artists and cosplayers. If you just like look across the whole community for fan art and
Mm.
cosplay, Loba is easily one of the highest ones. I mean, I think Wraith is up there. There's a
Yeah.
lot of Watson as well, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
Loba is, I think,
Hmm.
one of the big ones. And because Loba is one of my favorites, I wanted to have a question around her. She just like instantly took the fan base by storm. I think she's one of the most beloved characters. She has a really just cool design. Why do you think she is so unique and liked by the community? What makes her a little special?
She is a power woman fighting in heels. Literally, how powerful can you be to be on a battlefield with 6-inch heels? But it's also the fact that she is this power woman, but she's so elegant at the same time. She is a woman in a way of elegance and strength. She is independent. I love everything about her. Her base costume as well. It's just, if you look at that, she is amazing. But then I've noticed with Loba's skins, there's so much like they change a lot in a way of you've got skins that you can actually see changes with just the arms, so not just the full body, but if you've got a gun in your hand, you can see if she's like a change of glove or a change of bracelet, her nails changing. And then you've got all of the changes of her hair, hoods, makeup. I think she has the most beautiful skins. And then with her voice lines, they're, they're very sassy. I love them so much.
Yeah. To simplify it and elaborate on it, I think it's due to Loba's sex appeal. And what I mean by sex appeal is a little bit more beyond the physical. It's the level of confidence that brings her attraction. You know what I'm saying? She has a
Hmm.
personality that like in the confidence, in the boldness, like oh, you're attracted to it, and then she still has a high level of she's feminine, but it's just like she's so confident and like yeah, wow, like the mixture is so appealing and it draws you to it.
Hmm.
And uh, those are characters that are developed that even help people build their own confidence or relate to like you know I want to be confident like a Loba or I want to be you know what I'm saying so that I think she's also just a big relatable character and like you know like when Wonder Woman first came out you know and she was like oh yeah it's a Wonder Woman like we all want to be you know tough we want to show ourselves we want to be ourselves and I think Loba has that effect across the community yeah just that big that powerful personality.
I have to agree with you because when I've done my Loba photo shoots, all these poses that I'm doing, they're based off banner poses. They're based off the trailers. They're based off just her emotes, her finishers, all of
Mm,
that. And when I'm doing these poses, I'm hearing from the photographer that's like a proper power pose. And I do
yeah,
feel powerful, whether I'm aiming my P2020 or if I'm just posing with my
yeah,
hands or my body movement. I feel powerful, and that's all because it's Loba. I am being the character Loba, and I feel amazing and confident in that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you
good.
you both are, I think you're both hitting it right on the head. There's just something very powerful about the character, just the energy given off, the voice lines, everything about everything. Yeah, you're all hitting it, I think, right on the head there. They just Respawn really just knocked that character design out of the
Mhm.
park. The voice actor, the voice acting is phenomenal. I think also from a gameplay standpoint, just like it satisfies that loot goblin in all of us, just to be able to
Yes.
drop down the black market and just like get stuff. I
Mm,
feel like I'm kind of like cheating, but like in parts of the game where you have the vaults and the stuff you can't get to, and you
Yes.
can still steal from there. Like you feel like, oh, like you're kind of breaking the game or you're cheating a little bit to like all of a sudden get like a gold piece of armor that you weren't supposed to have.
yeah.
So like from a gameplay standpoint too, there's just something fun, and it's I think from another thing from a gameplay, you guys really hit it on from a character design and like an execution standpoint. So I'm just focusing on the gameplay, but I agree with you guys 110% on those things. But just from a
Mm,
gameplay, I was just going to add that in. Like, there's just also something super fun about the teleportation. I think the idea of just like
Yes.
throwing something and instantly being there, and I've had it where like I've been like able to like reposition quickly. And I think teleportation, just from a gameplay standpoint, is super fun. And as they continue to nerf Wraith to oblivion, it just
oh
really
no.
makes the Loba's teleportation just stand out even more, just being very tactical. So yeah, from a gameplay, from a design element, from an execution, I think all of
Mm,
it is just, there's something special. And I don't mean to like take away from the other characters, because we've continued to get
mm,
really amazing and cool characters in other ways, but there was just something about that character that just seems to really resonate with like the art and the cosplay communities. So I wanted to talk about that.
Mhm.
Another thing that we couldn't have an Apex discussion and not discuss was the newly released Apex Legends mobile. So if either of you have tried out Apex Legends mobile at all, what is your opinion of it? Do you think they did a good job in bringing the classic Apex experience to mobile? First off, have you tried it, and what do you think?
So I haven't personally tried it because I'm not a big fan of mobile games. But from what I have seen, people are getting like 20 odd kills. And this is because the servers are kind of filled with bots at the moment, and I
Yeah.
don't know if they've changed that or if they're going to change that. But aside from the gameplay and the bots, I'm so jealous. They have skins that we don't have in game that are matching, and they look so cool, and we don't get that. There's another legend. I don't even know that legend's name, and we don't have that. And I wish we had those matching skins because the current event that's happening or going to happen with the anime skins, that's cool. But these are matching skins in the Apex mobile game that I
mm.
want.
No, that's fair. I know not everyone's probably have
Yeah.
tried it yet. What about you, Kenan? Have you tried it?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, quick comment before on that Loba teleportation. I just wanted to say real quick. I've seen somebody, and I've learned this with Horizon. I've seen somebody use it as an offensive and defensive. So most people use it to escape or get certain places. I've seen a guy throw it um in the Octane run and try to like meet her there, and then she didn't call herself there. She just stayed behind and just took him out. I said, wow, amazing. I wouldn't even think to use it as like a decoy option to like psych
Mhm.
out. But the mobile, I think it is. I'm not a fan of most mobile games, but it's pretty cool. I think it's great for people that are just trying to get into Apex, that don't really know too much about it, and are trying to don't have the time to really hone in on it. Versus like on a console, like I think the level of play is a little bit easier. For most, like you said, it's like some bots going on. So I think it's a good beginner because you get into Apex Battle Royale and it gets hectic. You're like, what's going on?
Mhm.
And people are like, I tried it, but it's not my thing. But it's like it's not even that. They don't really, you know, have the time to like take the time to like really find out what's going on. But I think mobiles is a good start off for beginning players.
Yeah, I've put a good amount of time into it just to check it out. Because I did a review on it. So I did drop a review and I can post a link
Mm.
down in the description on this
Yeah,
video. But so I won't spend too much time on it, but I'll give you like the pros and cons from my opinion. So
yeah.
from a pro standpoint, some things they did really well was pulling off first person shooters on mobile is very difficult.
Mm.
Mm.
There's two things you could do to make it easier, and that's to include day one controller support, which most of the time they don't do that. They never do that. In fact, even like big AAA titles that came to mobile didn't launch with day one controller support, and like Call of Duty Mobile didn't launch with that. But Apex Legends Mobile did, which is really impressive. I was like, oh, that never happens. We never get controller because I'm a controller snob when it comes to playing mobile games. Like if you don't have controller support, like there have been times where I'm like, I don't even want to try it because
Mhm.
I'm that against like touch controls for mobile games for games that really need a controller. But
Mm.
so I was impressed. I give them that they did include day one controller support. But the other thing that makes it better is like pulling off first person shooters on touch controls is very difficult and usually pretty crappy experience, but I was actually really impressed at just how good it was. It was actually not impossible to like aim and shoot. Like I've played touch controls before and I did try it. I had to try both. I definitely still
Mhm.
prefer the controller, but I tried both and I was very impressed at how I was able to use an R99 with just like crazy recoil and still able to like aim and shoot and kill things. So
Mhm.
the touch controls are, I guess I shouldn't have expected anything less from Respawn because they are the king of gunplay and gameplay, and all of that is really good. From a performance standpoint, it runs beautifully. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was an ugly or a dumbed down version. Like it's definitely better than like the Switch version. So
Hmm.
if you're playing on like a relatively modern device, like you have a relatively modern phone or tablet, it should look really well. So performance wise is really good. The controls were really good with that day one controller support and really good optimized touch. Those are some of the pros. Um, on the con side that they have some things to work on is I really didn't like their decision to separate and divide the player base. They made the
Mm.
conscious decision to have mobile exclusive legends, mobile exclusive events. You don't have any cross progression. So like it doesn't matter how many hundreds of coins I have over here. None of the coins are over here.
Mhm.
So I still haven't unlocked Fade because I don't want to spend money on two different versions of the game. Um, when I have coins on my PC version that I would just buy Fade over here if they let me. And I
Yeah.
hate that artificial division in game. The game runs fine. There's no real difference for the division because you could
Yeah.
have cross progression, you could have cross play, you could have all of that because other games have done it. I
Mhm.
constantly reference how well, and I'm not a huge Fortnite fan. I play Fortnite and I like Fortnite, but that is one thing that they pulled off was having complete cross progression and cross play amongst all the platforms. And it doesn't the platform shouldn't matter, the input matters. So
Yeah.
you'd have mouse and keyboard lobbies, you'd have controller lobbies and touch lobbies. That's you can have it based beyond input, not platform. So I
Yeah.
hate that they purposely divided that off because then you're going to make gamers choose. Do I play it on my PC or do I play it on my
Yeah.
Go? Do I put more time in the season over here? Do I buy two paddle passes? Like people don't want to rebuy things.
Oh,
You'll
I
see a
never
skin.
considered that, the battle pass.
Yeah, basically everything that you buy, you'd have to buy twice. So if you have a really cool skin for a character you play with, you have to rebuy it over
Yeah.
here, or
Mhm.
assuming it doesn't even exist. It also makes extra work for developers. Like I just disagree with that whole strategy.
Yeah.
Um, but like at the end of the day, that's not going to change. But ultimately, that's the one big negative I wish they hadn't done. But also the other thing is they definitely have a bot problem.
Yeah.
I don't think I've lost a single round on mobile yet. It's so easy, like compared to the main. There was times like, well, I got 23 kills this time. I don't think they were all people. I'm not that good.
Yeah.
I'll play on PC and I'll get 3 or 4 kills and we'll win. And then I'll go on the mobile and I'll get 27 kills and I'm a kill leader the whole
Mm.
time. And we win easy. And I'm like, yeah, those were some of those were at least bots. So
Yeah.
they need to
Yeah.
fix that. And actually those two problems are related where like if they had unified the player base, if they had brought cross progression and all this stuff, then you wouldn't need bot lobbies because you would have the whole wealth of the whole community playing together. So when you divide your community in half like that, that's you need bots to keep match times down. So um, So that's another reason why I disagree with that strategy. But at the end of the day, I felt like it was a positive experience. So once they get rid of the bots, I don't think it's enough to replace the Prime game, but it'll be good
Hmm.
for those that are mobile fans. And they did a good job on the game itself, even if I disagree with some of the
Ooh,
account and strategy and progression and stuff.
yeah.
Um, so let's talk about some more things about the game. What are some of the best guns? What is your all-time favorite gun and why?
So my personal favorite guns have changed all of the time, based on how like guns are coming out and stuff like that. Like I never remembered Peacekeeper being out. I always used the Eva 8 back when I started playing. Currently it's the Flatline and the Peacekeeper or a charged up Sentinel. Last season, 2 seasons ago, it was the Vault, back in season
Mm.
11. But my favorite pistol in the game is the P2020 with half. I quite enjoy using the P2020 of hammer points for some reason, but I think that's also because I play Lobe and I have the Loba skin on it.
That's fair.
So if I had to choose one gun, my top gun, the gun I'm the best with is the Hemlock. The Hemlock is
Oh,
just
really?
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I'm good with it mid range, close range, or long range. Like
Single fire
I
or burst?
both. For that
Oh.
one, if they're too far, I use single fire, but I'm good on burst.
Mm-hmm.
Burst helps me. What the Hemlock did is help me become great, like with weapons like the bow check. Like I'm super awesome with the bow check.
Oh my
It's
God,
what
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I think you're
it's
like with five people that are good with the bow
it,
check in all of
it,
Apex.
it's just what I've learned. Especially trying to hit far shots with the Hemlock is like you have to aim a little bit more up when they're farther, or get better at timing when they're going to be what
Mm-hmm.
move they're going to make. So my guesstimation about it got like 10 times better because like the Hemlock is just man, and it hits so hard too. When you're hitting your shots and they
Yes.
go down, it feels like, oh man, I'm really putting them down. Like that's the gun that really like gets me like, yeah, I'm doing work. And besides that, my second place would be the Havoc. Even though they changed it a lot, it would be the Havoc.
Oh. I'm
Mhm.
not a big fan of the Havoc. I used to use the Hemlock, amazing with boosted loader, and I always used it with the free times.
Mhm.
But the Havoc, apart from the Vault, I've always struggled to get into energy weapons. It's that charge up in the recoil that always gets me.
So what helped me out um was because I was playing with it before they had it, and I was like, man, what the heck they gonna put this little? But I started playing as if I never had the turbocharger. So what that helped me do, because like with Mirage, I'm flanking rescue, so I'm either flanking people or I'm here to rescue my team. So
Hmm.
like if I have my good angle on flank, I'm already charging up and timing where I'm going to shoot because that's where they're going to be at. So it's the sneak attack weapon for me. Sometimes up front, like with no with hip fire, I'm great at it too. But I actually got better with it with or without turbocharger. So yeah, but yeah, no, I totally understand. It took me a couple of seasons to get back to it because yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna get the trigger held down and wait for the Havoc to charge up while I start talking. So the
Uh,
you gotta give it a while to charge up before it starts firing. You just gotta hold down the trigger. So
see,
while
but
we wait for that, I'm gonna talk about my favorite guns. Sorry, I was so excited for the Havoc when they announced it because it was like, oh cool, new energy, it's all right. But I'm just like, man, if you kudos to people who like it, but there were times where like I was really excited and I was trying to main with it when it came out because it was like that was actually the first new gun we got in the game.
Mm,
And
Hmm.
and I remember playing with it and it's just man, it depends on the hard thing about the conversation about guns is because they change every season. So guns that were
oh
really
yeah,
good and then they nerf them, and I feel like they take the George Lucas approach to guns and Apex because they just like constantly tweak and change it. I'm just like leave the guns alone.
yeah,
Like they work. Like stop changing them, and then they change the hop
Hmm.
right.
ups and they change like what guns can do what. It's just it drives me bonkers. But
Getting rid of hop ups.
oh yeah,
The alternator with the hop up was phenomenal.
there.
Mm.
Oh no, yeah. When they got rid of they destroyed the that gun when which one I look thinking of the heavy man I'm blanking the heavy weapon heavy ammo SMG. What am I thinking of? Oh crap.
Someone Spitfire?
No,
Oh,
the S
SMG. The new
um
one, the car?
The
no,
Prowler?
the Prowler, that's what it is. When they
Prowler.
took
Yeah,
away
yeah.
the
The auto
the full
switch.
auto, oh man, that thing
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that gun was
agree,
really
agree.
fun, and then they just made it not fun at all. So for me, I'm gonna say so I love the Spitfire
Mm.
because there were I like it for a couple of reasons. I love the audio for it. I know the gun's a
Oh,
little
yes.
broken, and that's why they moved it to like red tier for a couple seasons. And it's
Mm.
really hard to balance because it had a high ammo capacity. And there's one or two seasons there where it was a little cheap of a gun, but
Yeah.
Hmm.
I really liked it because there was a couple seasons where I was playing by myself. I was playing with randos, and I felt like every other match I was by myself because people would dip too early and things like that. So I
Yeah.
felt like it was the one gun that had the ammo capacity and the damage output to 1v3. So there was
Yes.
if there's match after match after match where I'm playing where it's just me and I'm going to eventually run into a squad of 3 people, it was the gun that gave me a fighting chance when I constantly played with the Wraith mains who were dipping as soon as they went down. So there was one or two seasons where I just felt like I was on my own a lot.
Hmm.
And it's a good solo gun where like you need when you have 3 squads who maybe have high armor and and you're outnumbered, you need something that has a high ammo capacity and high damage. So it's a fun game to play with, and I just love the sound it makes. Like there's just something about
Mm.
just the audio for that gun when it's going off. But another gun that I really like, I really loved the Peacekeeper in seasons like 1 through 0 through 3. Like OG Peacekeeper was super fun. When they
Mm.
rebalanced it to give it the hop up by default, so it charges. That was cool. I brought that back, so I would
Mm.
put the Peacekeeper up there. It's not as
Okay.
versatile as I would like, but one that I found that I actually um, kind of fell in love with in just the last like 2 seasons was the RE45. That gun,
Mm.
Mm.
it like pistols in all, and one thing that I've talked about a lot in when we're discussing weapons is in a lot of games pistols are just always the throwaway gun. It's a gun that you don't keep until end game. It's not a gun that
Hmm.
you bring to the final circle with you. Like you grab a pistol as soon as you land because you need the weapon. But as soon as you find a sniper rifle, an SMG, an LMG, an assault rifle, something a shotgun even, you always throw away pistols. And
Mm.
very few games give us pistols that feel like end game weapons guns that were like. There are times where like I'll have my RE45 and I'll come across an R99 or an alternator or even an RE301 and I'll keep my RE45 because it has such a huge high rate of fire. And
Hmm.
Right.
when they added the hammer point, just the visual and the sound of shooting that thing is really cool.
Yes.
I love it. So those are probably the two that I play with the most right now is
Yeah.
Spitfire and RE45. I like those a lot. Peacekeeper's
Mhm.
fun. One gun that I would, if I could love, I would love for them to bring the this is going to be a Titanfall wish list weapon is the Sidewinder from Titanfall. Was
Um,
if
Mm.
you've ever, I don't know if you ever played with that gun,
yeah.
but it was a micro missile launcher slash like
Hmm.
LMG. Like it just that gun was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way it would like literally like disintegrate away enemies because it was like shooting these micro missiles. It's such a
Yeah.
Mm.
it wasn't even a Titan gun. Like it was meant to be used like a multi-purpose one. So yeah, that's one gun that I would love. And we saw a tease of it in like a video from Apex like
Oh.
3 4 seasons ago. There was one where I think it was Loba's video or Bangalore. Someone shows there's you actually see the Sidewinder, and I thought, oh, we're getting the Sidewinder this season, and nope, that was like 5 seasons ago. So if
Mm.
anyone can share this to anyone that they know who works at Respawn, please let them know I want the Sidewinder. Cool. Any other guns before we move on?
I will say, there's absolutely nothing more satisfying than getting a kill with a wingman. I'm terrible
Yeah.
with the wingman, but
Yeah,
getting a
yeah.
kill or a knock with a wingman feels so good.
I was just thinking that
Yeah.
must be. I wonder what that feels like to get a kill with the wingman.
Man.
Doesn't
Yeah,
happen often,
I
but when
agree.
it does, it hits hard.
I,
when you know when you hot drop and you just have to grab the first gun you can
Yep,
find,
yep.
and there's a couple guns that when you grab it you're just like ugh. And
Hmm.
typically that's why it's my comment about pistols is that all the other pistols like the Mozambique, the P90, the and the Wingman are all those guns for me where I'm just like yeah, this ain't gonna do much, but I have to
Mhm.
fight anyways. So I hear you.
We can
Um,
also include for best guns Sheila, Rampart's ult.
Yeah, Sheila. Yeah.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. I don't play
Sheila is
Rampart too often.
amazing.
I should play more often because especially since I love the LMGs and she has the
Hmm.
LMG passive amp, so that's cool. Should play her more. Um, there's another question I had on here. For
Yeah.
those of you that have either, I should have asked you this. Have either of you actually played Titanfall? Who here has played Titanfall besides myself?
I have not played
You.
Titanfall, but I have
Okay.
watched a friend hyperfixate over Titanfall to me.
My question was revolving around that. Is something that has been a hotly debated topic in the Apex community is whether or not Respawn should ever bring Titans in any way to Apex Legends. And
Yes.
there's a couple ways they could do that, but what do you guys think? Should they do it? You think yes? Yeah, I would
So
definitely agree
my
with you.
friend said, no, just make Titanfall free.
I
That- I-
I can agree with that. That's good. Um, I have three ways that I think I could see them doing it, and I'd be okay with them doing any of these. So my opinion would be number one, I would love for them to, and I think how they could do it is Titanfall 3 could be a campaign that is like I would want them to be like what they could do is they could adopt a similar relationship from Call of Duty where they have Warzone and they have their annual games, and they're like connected and interconnected and they can like share guns and loadouts and you can like share stuff and even when you load up the game you see both. I think they could really adopt a similar strategy to where Apex Legends and Titanfall 3 coexist under like the same package.
Mm.
And Apex is the battle royale just to their war zone. And Titanfall 3 could bring us like some traditional multiplayer modes like team
yeah.
deathmatch, and it could give us a campaign. So like they have a formula of what's working for Activision clearly. I mean that it makes them billions, so it works. Um,
Mhm.
I would love for them to give us Titanfall 3 and just let it coexist because I think that's one of the big fears is they don't want to. I mean, Apex Legends is working; it's making money.
Mm.
They don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. But I think they
Yeah.
have a good model of how they can still give us Titanfall 3 without taking away from Apex Legends. So that
Mhm.
would be a good way to bring in Titans. But to actually bring Titans into Apex Legends, two ways I could see them do it is number one is I think a legend that has a Titan as an ultimate that could be like
Mm.
I think you could make it balanced. I know a lot of people think it would be unbalanced, and I think you can make it work. You can make it in two ways. You could have it to where it's like you actually hop in the Titan and control it like a temporary mech, which I think would be cool. You'd have to make it balanced. You don't want it to
Mhm.
be too you don't want it to be like the Fortnite mechs that were like just god tier. Um, but you also could just have the Titan follow you around. It could be like a shadow character. Like if you ever played Overwatch, it could just be like
Uh,
the Bob ult where you just like launch a Titan and it
Yeah.
shoots bad
yeah.
guys for 30 seconds. Like there's ways you could do it without it being too
Mm.
OP. The other way they could do it is they could just have Titans drop in and be like arena hazards, no different than all the arena hazards we have now. So like you go to an area, a Titan drops and you fight the Titan, and when it explodes, it drops loot. Like
Mm.
Mm.
they could give us Titans. There's ways to make Titans in the game, and I would love to have them bring it back. So what do you guys think? They should bring Titans, right?
I
If that
think.
was the case,
Oh,
oh,
sorry. Go
sorry,
ahead.
you
Go
go
ahead.
first.
Okay. I think. I have like two ways. I think. If they brought it in control, because I love control when they had it. If they
Oh,
brought it
control
in
was so
control,
good.
yes, and it had like two Titans, one on the left end or right end, and they belong to each team, and it'll take a while. Like it has to be like mid match, or like you have to be at a certain level of tug of war, and then your Titan becomes available. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the person like that could jump in there, and then now you're battling both sides for the control,
Mhm.
or it will be the one Titan in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And then when that becomes available, just like for the control areas, you have to battle for that in whatever team, like not whatever team wins, but like when you're fighting for it is the one that gets to go in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we killed
Mm.
all the squad, our team's left. Let's hurry up and jump in before they come back. And you can steal that, make it better. Like you can still steal it from the other team. So I think, yeah, those two things, because yeah, that thing is amazing.
Mhm.
Titans would make a good I second your point about control. That I want them to bring control back as like a permanent mode. But
Yes.
like Titans could also make like a good PvE, like a horde mode. Like you could have like
Yeah.
a squad of legends and you have the crawlers and you have all these other things come at you. It'd be cool to have for Apex to have a horde mode that's PvE, and you could put Titans
Yes.
there too. Like you could have it where you're just fighting Titans. Like that'd be cool.
Right.
What were you gonna say, Scarlett?
So I was gonna say was based on the information I've been hearing from you guys, it would probably have to be on its own map or its own gameplay, a bit like how we have control in arenas. But that's already been discussed, so
Mm.
Yeah, I really do hope they bring Titans. I don't really care. I think we've just talked about a half dozen different ways they could do it. The
Yeah.
important thing is just to make it balanced, make it feel fun. But I think it's totally
mhm.
doable, and it's so important to the identity for this universe that I want them to bring back Titans. Um, my final question that we'll spend a little bit of talking about it and before we end the event, but the last one I think is just a fun one. This is a big what if. Um, this is if you could design your own legend. Like this is something that I like to play with, is just like if you could, like, we need more new legends every season. So like what would you like to see? And talk about, like, in terms of like what their abilities, what type of abilities you'd
Mm.
like to see, what type of, maybe like it could be like even just more on like the aesthetic, like what do they look like, what type of character are you kind of interested in having in the game, like design your own legend, what would it be?
Oh God, so as I was saying before we started recording, was I struggle on this question, but I've been talking about it non-stop. It's so I originally wanted to make a support character because we need more support characters. And instead I made I made an offense character again. I had this idea of someone who was a tall woman, kind of like dark hair, eye patch scar, and like black and red outfit. But then every character I've ever created has had a sword, and I'm thinking we don't bring swords to a gunfight.
Mm.
And then it was the whole thing of how do I introduce a character with a sword without making it seem like it's a copy of Ash or Genji from Overwatch. So we decided, well, what if the sword was an heirloom? But the character would definitely, for me personally, would be Southeast Asian, because
Mm.
that's me. And even though we have Rampart and Valkyrie for the Asian side of the community, I'd love to see more Southeast Asian representation. But it's also the fact of what ability could I give them that wouldn't be a copy of another legend? I had the idea of what if they had a whip, but then that could just do what Pathfinder can do and drag things closer. So that's not what I want to do. So I struggled so hard with that.
I think you definitely have some interesting ideas there,
Mm.
though. I like the visual, and just some of the ideas for the character. What about you, Cannon? You got any
Oh
ideas?
man. So it could either be a offense character or a defense character. I think it might fall under a little defense a little bit more. I was thinking even from name, it will be around like spam or gridlock. Maybe gridlock. Yeah,
Cool.
maybe
I like
gridlock.
gridlock.
I think
Gridlock's fun.
gridlock.
Yeah.
It'll be more of a for our little backstory. It'll be one of those, like, when the like Waller from DC goes to get the Suicide Squad, like the bad guys that you need to do the good.
Mm.
He's probably like an ex cop and stuff like that. So he would have more of a look like he's from. What can I give you guys a visual? Like, what's that? Borderlanders. So it just his look and appearance is it kind of like more rugged, and he has like
Yes.
a handcuff, but like one of those futuristic handcuffs, and one of them is cuffed to his arm. So I think one of his I'll say passives, maybe if he's running around and he's able to latch it onto your wrist and control you for a little bit and physically
Oh.
do extra damage. You know what I'm saying? But the balance is you can, if you manage to like hit him back, it'll break off. You know what I'm saying? But if he
Mhm.
catches you like from behind or something, he might have a bigger advantage. And then say his L1 would be, for me it's L1, it would be like almost like a bear trap. You know what I'm saying? Like you're running through it, you don't really,
That's
you
cool.
can see like a shape of it, but then it kind of stuns you for like at least 3 seconds. Like you
Mhm.
kind of could shake out of it. You know
Kind
what
of
I'm
like a
saying? But
chunk rat trap from Overwatch. It
yeah,
sounds like
a
that's
junk
that's
rat
cool. I
trap.
like that.
And then his alt
Those are
would
not at
be
all annoying when they happen to you.
in his he would have a good radius that you, if you're at the edge, you can escape, but if you get caught in the middle of it, it will be like a ground mine, which is like essentially a landmine. but like when you're in it, it charges up for at least like maybe 4 or 5 flashes, like foo, foo, foo. But so it gives you the alert, like I have to get out of the space, or it's gonna explode up and knock me to half of everything, like half of your shield
Mm-hmm.
and half of your health, like you're all half. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you still have fighting power. It's still like a big effective alt. When you can also still get away from it. So that will be my character.
Mm.
That's really cool. I like that. I like some of
Mm.
the ideas there. The junk rat trap idea really just
Yeah,
brought back a lot of like Overwatch flashbacks of horror, just how many
Yeah.
times
yeah,
I've gotten like stunned and you die, and like, yeah, that we don't really have like a trap type character that does that. Like the closest thing we have is Caustic, but he doesn't
caustic. Yeah.
like stop you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Watson a little bit, but that's more of a barrier. So yeah,
mm,
the idea for Gridlock is really cool. It's also a cool name. Very when you said that, I just instantly pictured like this big like football player kind of dude,
yeah.
like a
Mm,
very like
It
imposing
definitely
character.
is a legend name.
Hmm.
yeah.
For me, one of a couple things that I would like to see, I already mentioned the idea of I would love to see the traditional pilot legend with a Titanfall ult and wall running, and I
Mm.
want the
Mm,
Titanfall 2
Oh, wall
character.
running. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Wall running was sick.
give me the archetype of the pilot, which has a Titanfall ult and a passive wall running capability, and maybe like some other ability. That's something I want. I want them to get that Titanfall character, or just even give us Jack Cooper from Titanfall 2. Give us that
Yeah.
character and have his Titan be the ult. So I would love that, but that's not really my own character. For me, one thing that I really love to see is something that's grossly missing from the game is we have all of these legends and we have only one medic. We have only one healer.
One
I'm
medic.
like,
It's
I'm
only
like,
one medic.
it is beyond time for another healing character because nothing against
Yeah.
Lifeline, but it's like Lifeline, especially when you play arenas, it is amazing just how game changing it is to have a healer on your team, someone who can
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like help heal and bring it up when you're such a small team and there's no respawns, like all that stuff. But um, I would say so. One thing that I would love to do, and another going with more Overwatch inspirations, is one thing that I would love is one of the characters that I loved playing a lot and I mained a lot in Overwatch was Lucio. Lucio
Okay.
was a character that I just played a lot of, and I was really good with him. And there was always times where it's like if we're losing the battle, I would switch to Lucio's to try to get the tide changed again. And I
Yeah.
like the reason I mentioned him is I want a legend that has like an area of effect healing ability, like a passive.
Yes.
And this would be a medic. So my idea for a legend is a medic who has a passive area of effect like healing ability, and when you're
Mm,
in this zone it automatically causes like a +5 per second health or something like that.
mm,
And I think that'd be a really cool passive because we just need another medic. So from a gameplay standpoint, that's my number one thing. There's other like healing things you could do, um, like some type of like I don't want to make it too much like Lifeline, but you could there's a lot of different ways to heal
mm,
characters, and you could just play
yeah.
around with that. So I want another medic, and then another one that I want more robot characters. I know we
Mm-hmm.
already have three. If I'm counting right, yeah, three. Um,
Sapphire,
but
Revenant, Ash. Yeah.
yeah, we got three. But I mean, you can always have more. So I think it'd be cool to have maybe a less humanoid robot. I don't know how that would work with things, but you can make them like a little bit more. I don't know, you can give them wheels or something like something a little less
Mm,
humanoid.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could make it work, like make their jump be like a little jet boost or something. Like you could give us a non-humanoid robot, but even if it is still like that might be difficult with the gameplay and like from a development side, like going away from the humanoid like skeleton that they put these characters on.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that'd be another thing is I'd like to have another
Yeah.
like robotic
Give
character.
Pathfinder a new best friend.
Yeah, because Remnant and Ash, yeah, that's actually a good point. Because Remnant and Ash are both pretty unfriendly characters, and Pathfinder's like this super happy robot. And I'm really bad with. I like Pathfinder as a character because I love robots, but I never
Mm-hmm.
play as Pathfinder because I suck as him. I'm
Yeah.
just not good as Pathfinder, so I never play as him. So like, give me that's where I'm a little selfish. Is I love playing as like I kind of want like a half healing support, half offensive, because that's like how I
Yeah.
play. I like when I play as support characters, I'm still playing offensively because I'm usually
Yeah.
by myself or with randos. Um, and but I like having healing abilities. but I want more friendly robots. So
Yeah, we
if
need
you,
another friendly robot. What about like a robot that's kind of similar to like Elfrey's personality from Solo? That kind of
mm,
robot. We need a friendly one.
if we can get, if they had a robot medic that can hit you with a defibrillator and bring you back a little bit, would be amazing.
That's an
You know what I'm
amazing
saying?
idea. A healer robot. That
Yeah.
sounds so good.
yeah, I think my medic robot would be a hit with people.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we need another medic bad, and just to help the
Yeah.
meta of the game, and I think we could use more robots. You know,
Because Loba's a medic, but she's more a supplier
she's
than a
she's a
medic.
Yes,
sup-
yes.
we have other support characters, but we only have the one healer.
Mhm.
Mm.
So that's where I'm just like, we need another healer. The
Oh yeah.
No, I think it, and if you make like a medic robot, you can make them like really like scrawny and like skinny like robots, because they're like Dr. Robot, but they make them very like
Yeah.
um I don't know, they don't have to be like imposing, but they can be like very dangerous at the same time. So I don't know.
Right.
That's my ideal. Um,
No, that'll be awesome.
well, that was all of my questions. I want to take a moment here to thank you guys for joining us for Infinite Summer. And for those of you watching, I want to thank you all for coming and checking this out. If you already know us from Apex Infinite, check us out on our main general gaming page, Game Infinite. We're going to be doing more Infinite Summer videos. We have a bunch of developer interviews. We have more topical panels like this one. We're also going to be having a bunch of new trailers. And then go ahead and check out gameinfinite.net. That's where we're going to have a bunch of articles on there. We're going to have our recap articles and all of this stuff for all of Infinite Summer. It's going to be a lot there. It's our first annual event. Before we go, I want to give you guys a chance to plug. Do you have any upcoming projects you're excited about? Make sure to drop your handles. So we'll put them in the description below before we wrap up.
So my next cosplay that I have planned is Valkyrie. I can't remember the name. It's
Nice.
Amatsu Fury, I think it is, something like that. The yellow kimono skin.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
want to do the matching flatline as well.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to doing that, and I've got the jetpack in the work, so that's going to be amazing. But I'm not going to be able to showcase that till 2023 because it's a big project.
Oh. Okay. So me, I'm still working on the Mirage. I just got the heirloom to do party time. So that's a new update. I'll probably redo it again so I can have it do the colors, because right now the light is just like, the classic white light. But
Yeah.
I'm at the flags. And then I'm gonna work on getting proportional lights for it, because even some guy randomly hit me up and he does Mirage too, and he said, I'll do my lights, and they're like all huge, and I said I don't want huge lights, because one, it's EVA foam I'm working with, and the
Yeah,
proportion is like too big. So if I'll be trying to find lights that like just simply wrap around, but I'm still working on that, and I plan to have that done by October. And then also assisting with a Valkyrie. It will be the turquoise sun. So it's the one where she has the gold armor, but she has the turquoise suit under. I bought that when it came out. But that will be my next ones. I'm actually still focused on. Um, I've been working on this Black Clover. I don't know if you guys watch Black Clover.
I
Um,
haven't,
the-
but I've heard good things about it.
Check
yeah,
it
I've
out.
been
I haven't
working.
either.
No,
Mm.
but it's just like this wing thing. I'm trying to develop, and because it's just one-sided wing, so I have to like try to revamp it and make it fit. But that's something I'm working on separate. But mainly it's going to be Mirage still from Apex, and I might do another Mirage skin. Maybe the cowboy skin,
Oh, that'd be
Oh
or
cool.
yes.
the cowboy. There's two cowboy ones. There's the clown one, like the Ride the Bull cowboy, and then
Mm,
there's the cowboy one where he has the white and then the blue.
I like that
So
one.
so that's the one I might end up doing, because it seems pretty easy. Now that I have a hang of designing and making like um that style of costume.
hmm Another cosplay I do have planned is Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon, because
Oh,
I
nice,
Okay.
I love her
nice.
so much. I just feel so seen with that.
That's awesome.
But saying that, the next costumes I have are going to be a little more simpler ones. But the main big ones is Raya and Valkyrie. And I'm not the only person looking forward to doing my Valkyrie cosplay, because Erica, Valkyrie's voice actor, is also excited to see me do a Valkyrie cosplay, which is so
Nice.
exciting.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I know our viewers are going to definitely look forward to seeing those. I want to thank you guys again for taking time out of your busy day to join us for this Apex Infinite discussion panel. We're really
Thank you
excited
for
to do
having
this.
me.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you guys all on the next Infinite Summer video.
All right, definitely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up!